Today's video, we're going to talk about Google Ads bots. All the clicks that I'm getting from bots. Is that why my ads don't convert? Here's how to tell. All you need to know about Google Ads is, if you get the right people to your website and you have the right offer and the right looking website, you make money. The question is, can you weed out the bad traffic? Because this is what gets everybody, practically speaking, at the beginning especially. You get loaded up with the wrong traffic, whether it be bots, whether it be Google trying to shove shit quality traffic down your throat, you're not gonna make money from your ads, okay? Given that when you don't know what you're doing with Google Ads, it's easy to get 90% of your traffic to not be the traffic that converts. A lot of which can be click fraud, bots, so on and so forth. Bots actually are just one form of poor quality traffic that you get from Google Ads. I'm gonna talk about what the others are, but whether a bot click happens from Google has their own bots to click your ads, whether somebody of your competitors have a bot to click your ads, whether somebody on another website is clicking your ads when your ad shows up on another website to try to make money from Google AdSense, all of this is going to chip away at your profitability of your ads tremendously, and of which I'm going to tell you how to identify if this is happening to you and to what level on this video. Not to mention why it happens. Specifically, what are the motives behind the people doing this and how you actually understand how to get rid of it. More importantly, at the end of the day. And of course, I'll have a couple case studies for you here that say just how much this is going to affect your profitability or not affect your profitability. That is, make you a lot more money once you understand how to get rid of bots and understand where they're coming from for your business. So stay to the end of the video for those case studies as well. Well, here are the three main ways to tell, first off, if you have bots clicking on your ads. First of all, the easiest way of all to tell whether you got bots clicking on your ads is you're getting clicks way too fast, baby. If you are in a fairly smaller market, let's say you do home renovation services, okay? Even a big market like LA even, there's not thousands of people renovating their house every single month. At least doing that and also searching for it on Google. If you're running a campaign, it's easy to get hundreds of clicks a day right away. It's a clear sign you have bots clicking your ads. These aren't real people. Think about it logically for your market. What's the real amount of people that you can envision coming to Google and clicking on your ads? Of course, if you're talking about advertising on YouTube, advertising on their website on the display network, it's the same deal. What do you envision would be a normal amount of people that would click on your ad here? A lot of the websites outside of Google where you could run banner ads through display campaigns, you run an ad on a certain website, even like Forbes.com, you'll get 50 clicks in 15 minutes, which that's a clear sign there's click fraud going on by Forbes.com because they're a dying organization and they're stooping to this level. But even the big companies are in on doing this. And so it just doesn't make sense. Naturally, if you had a banner ad on Forbes.com, you would get maybe a few clicks, but not just tons of them. I know this is a little bit hard to put in frame of reference for yourself. This is the main tip-off that you're going to have right up front that's going to at least put bot clicks on your radar. Then you have to verify for yourself whether it's happening or not, which is when we get into the other two methods here that I'm going to go into. Clicks not converting. Now, this obviously seems like, clicks not converting, obviously, Corey. That is obviously, I knew that already. Bot clicks obviously don't convert. Yes, I got that. If they're converting less than they were before, that's a clear sign that you now have a bot problem, because it's not just at the beginning of running campaigns. It can be working great for weeks, months, years, and then this just suddenly springs up. Also, you should know what's low for your niche that you're in. You can Google online, what are the average conversion rates in my industry of home renovation services or in e-commerce, whatever you're doing. E-commerce is obviously it's not even really a niche. If your conversion rate's low for your niche, that's an indication, obviously, where at least investigate further whether you got bots clicking on your ads. If you're in e-commerce, by the way, the price of your product or service will change the conversion rate more than anything else. The more expensive it is, the lower the conversion rate you're going to get, because less people have money to buy and less people are going to be willing to buy. To give you a frame of reference there, if you sell a $1,000 item, a good conversion rate in that space is going to be like 0.3%. Whereas if you sell a $20 broom or item for 20 bucks, your conversion rate's going to be like 8%. You know, you should know that, and that kind of helps you e-commerce guys understand what's normal, even though there might not be publicly available information that says the conversion rates for what you're selling, okay? Obviously, competition matters as well. There's 20 guys cycling in and out of the ad spots on the top of Google for, you know, standing desks that you can be at while you're standing, okay? Your conversion rate is going to be less than if there were one guy that were advertising there. Even though there's organic stuff that's there. That's another way to kind of, you know, evaluate this, so to say. So whereas, you know, you may be selling a $1,000 item and you're going for a 0.3 conversion rate, if there's only 2 guys selling it, then 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, you know, you provide that adjustment, is what I'm saying here. Also, for services, it's mainly about urgency that affects your conversion rate, to try to figure out if conversion rates aren't available in your market, what your conversion rate should be. So what I mean by this is, going back to the home renovation market, if you want to get a kitchen remodeled, you don't need to do this. There's no emergency kitchen remodeling jobs. You research it for months, you think about it, then when you're ready to buy, you contact 5 companies and you get quotes, and then you think about it for a while, then you talk to your wife and you scratch your ass, and then eventually you figure out, okay, this is who I'm going to buy from. And during that whole time, there's a whole lot of time there for a person to talk themselves out of doing it. Because there's a ton of people who start down that road that just never do it. Because guess what? They got sick. Somebody needed to borrow money from them. IRS came after them. Whatever happened. And the money got pissed away on something else. The dude went to the strip club, spent 20 grand because he's a moron. Something else happened. Your conversion rate is going to be less in that market because of what I just said. If you're in a market like broken toilet repair services, a plumber in other words, then in that market, you basically don't think about it for very long. It's do or die, baby. You're either going to do this right now or you're not going to do it at all. There's very little drop off from the people entering the market to the point where they buy. So therefore your conversion rate on average is going to be higher. So it's not about need per se. It's about the time it takes for people to decide. In the home renovation market, kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, your conversion rate's going to be more so like 3-4% on average, or 2 to 4%, which is really low when you think about when somebody's typing in kitchen remodeling services on Google. Why is it only 3% are going to turn into a lead? Cap into the other 97%. 97% were just dicking around. They were talking about it, thinking about it, wishing it would happen. They use your website for educational purposes and they don't do shit. They never even intended when they clicked on your ad to do shit. A higher proportion of this traffic in there because it takes longer for people to decide. Therefore, the chances of somebody clicking your ad with no intention of converting right away is higher. Whereas with the broken toilet repair, nobody's doing this fun. Okay, you're not looking to hire a broken toilet repair man because you're contemplating it. You either do it right away or nothing. So for that matter, your conversion rate in that market, to give you some contrast here, will be 30% or right around there, 30-40%. So you're literally talking about a 10 to 20 times difference in conversion rate in services based upon the urgency of the user. So when you're trying to decide what's average to expect for your market, to know if you have issues with bots, that's a key way to find out what is so-called normal. So you know, should you be really sweating this or should you just let it go effectively? So assuming that you know your conversion rates should be higher than they are because you took my advice, you figured out one way or another what's normal for a conversion rate in your space, and you're getting clicks way too fast or what seems like too fast, faster than before, or just seems like faster than what makes sense, then you get into step 3. Here's where the rubber kind of meets the road. You check clicks from similar places. So the one thing about bot traffic is it's always going to leave some clues. Just like if you go and you murder your girlfriend, you're going to be able to find some clues, and that's what's going to get you caught up. People that are doing bot clicks on your ads are going to leave clues. You just have to investigate what it is where the patterns are, if you will. Bots are going to have predictable patterns, whether that be on the search terms level, if you're running search campaigns. In the search terms report, is there certain terms in there that are getting more clicks than what seems normal? Very often on accounts, we'll see a term like kitchen remodeling companies in USA. That's a term that maybe a couple of people search a year for and will actually click on your ad from. But you'll get all of a sudden 5 clicks from that search term in the last week, which is a clear sign of you got bots clicking on your ads. So then you can block that term and then get rid of the issue, of course. Which naturally it's not that simple because it's like a game of whack-a-mole. You block that and something else, they'll go to something else, or it's on multiple terms. And I won't get into all the details on that yet. But you got that. Of the available audiences that you can subsegment your traffic, which you can do this on demographic levels, you can do this on interest levels, affinity segment levels, because you can add audiences to any campaign you want as an observance, and you can see things like, hey, does the person like football or not? That's searching for kitchen renovation. Is almost everybody who's getting a kitchen renovation all of a sudden liking football? And then that can tell you and tip you off. And then if so, you fix it by getting rid of the people who like football as a way to correct that. You also can look at the placements menu. YouTube is starting to get a lot of bot traffic in itself now because it's getting more mainstream and more people are doing it. One of the main ways you fix that is you look at your placements. Where are your placements? Just like on Google Display Network, there's a bunch of channels who don't have real users and they're clicking their own ads to make money when they shouldn't. You find channels that are doing that and you get rid of them. And that's how you fix your bot traffic. Just like on Google Display Network, you can get rid of individual websites where that's going on, which on Display Network, it's not so easy to do that because there's millions of websites and you can't block them all that are bad because there's millions of bad ones too and millions of good ones. With YouTube, it's easier to do that because there's not as many channels, and Google places its own platform a little bit better as well. Versus for whatever reason on Google Display Network, Google doesn't seem like they give a shit if a website has legitimate users on it. For the most part, they kind of do, they kind of don't. And you can get sites that literally you get 0 valid clicks from, and then they're clicking their own shit. And I don't know why this goes on still to this day. But those are the ways that you then validate when you saw the signs here of bot traffic, how you validate it. And of course, this is not simple to do. I'm not giving you a checklist. Check here, click here, which most people want. I can't blame you for wanting it. You got a business to run. You got to be able to figure this out. Or you got to hire somebody that you send this video to that's going to figure it out for you. Because like I said before, if you do not get rid of your bot traffic, you're not going to make any money, most likely. For the most part, 95% of the time, if you don't get rid of your bot traffic, you're not going to make any money. It's going to drain your profitability so much. Even the customers you do get from the other 5%, or should I say from the real traffic, it's not going to offset it. It's actually hard enough to make money as is with no bot traffic mixed in with the rest of your traffic. You start mixing in bot traffic, you're making it basically impossible to make money. Okay, so you got to take this super seriously. Frankly, that's how you do it. Now, there's other considerations here that I want to talk about in reference to why it happens. The best way to learn anything, including and especially with PPC and online advertising, is how things work so you understand why things happen so you know how to fix and or deal with it. If you don't know how bot traffic happens, how the hell you expect to be a master at getting rid of it? You can't. Or should I say, it's not easy anyway. So I want to go over how this happens and how to deal with this, as well as understanding that there's different types of bot traffic and there's different situations where you don't have a bot issue at all. You have a different problem that's bringing you low quality traffic that you got to deal with that or learn to be patient so that it goes away on its own, which I'm going to talk about. Before I dip into this though, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you absolutely should. I have the best information online about how to make money with ads because it comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to figure out what works with ads, to guarantee our clients results, because we have to guarantee our clients results to get paid at our agency. Nobody else does this. If you want those methods, you got to, of course, subscribe to the channel and pay attention to what I got here. I also got a great blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog where I document the strategies I'm using to guarantee clients results. You should check that out as well if you already like the channel. If you have any questions about anything I'm covering here, by the way, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel. Furthermore, you can find my link to my Discord group. I'm in there answering questions as well. Also, you can reach out to through my site to me as well through that channel. You can find my site at guaranteedppc.com where you can contact me, set up a call. We can do a coaching call together. Or if you want to inquire about any one-off thing that you think that you need help with, you can, of course, do it that way, as well as inquire how much results I can get doing the ad strategy for you on a done-for-you basis. Given that that's our bread and butter that we do at our agency, that is, you come to us, we say, hey, we'll double your sales before charging a management fee. If we do, here's what we want on the back end. We'll give you the guarantee, then we'll go to work. If you want that kind of guarantee, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. And I will certainly give it to you. I'll give you an 8-quarter projection of your results along with it. I also, by the way, have, in addition to that, templates available. If you're in a market that we've already been in before, we can tell you the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates, all of it that work for your niche market. Essentially, you just take the template, you copy paste it into your ad account, you get the same results we did. In another geographic market, a different city, different country. We've been in hundreds of markets, so we've got a lot of templates. And if we've been in your market, it would be absolutely silly to spend all the time and money we did to figure out what works in your market already when you don't have to. If you're interested in that, reach out to me through my site as well at guaranteedppc.com. Getting back to what I was mentioning here, factors. What causes these bot clicks? So you can understand how to fight it. You can't fight what you don't understand in my book. How does Google view you? So before you automatically assume you have bot traffic, which this tells you if you have bot traffic, if you're wondering though, going back to number 2 in these 3 things I just mentioned here, if your clicks are not converting, this doesn't necessarily mean you have bot clicks, okay? You can confirm if it's bot clicks by looking at the other 2 here. Generally speaking, still in most markets, bot traffic isn't the highest reason why your traffic's not converting. It's not converting because Google doesn't view you or valuable customer to them. Google has, basically access. It's like they're offering free drugs and they get to say, you get them, you don't get them. People are still going to want them. Inherent value, everybody knows it. What they get to do is instead of just saying, we're only taking so many customers, they open it up to everybody. And who's willing to spend the most, but that's a minor factor now. Whoever helps their users get the best experience now, they're going to try to give everything to them, have their ads show up the most, give them as much benefit as possible so they stay around as an advertiser. Because Google they very smartly figured out that if they optimize and have ads show up that are helping the user, people will want to click on ads more and more, and that'll build long-term increase in revenue in their company that way. So if you got in a market that's competitive, a low barrier to entry like kitchen remodeling, you have 20 people cycling in and out of the ad spots on Google. How do they decide who's going to show in those 4 ad spots? It's the person that has the best click-through rates, the best conversion rates, the best reviews, because they look at all 3. And if you have the highest amount, they want to have your ad show up most of the time, the biggest ad, highest in the list, showing up for the people that are more likely to convert into a sale, the best, customers there. Why? Because they want you to encourage you to stay around as an advertiser. And the guy that's not doing that, they don't give a shit about you. They're going to give you all the opposite of that. The reason why I bring this up is if you're a new advertiser, for one, they don't know who you are. 90% of guys come in thinking they take over the world on Google in their market with 15 minutes of work. And that ain't going to cut it. And especially when you don't know anything about ads. You got competitors you're going up against making literally millions of dollars. And you think you're going to take it away from them with 15 minutes of effort? Are you kidding me? And so that's the average person's mentality getting into this. They just think it's like a checkbox. Oh, I'm going to list my ad and I'm done. No. Okay. For that easy, everybody would be freaking rich. Get real. You start advertising, you do all the right things that I tell you about on this channel. Google's still not going to know it until you've advertised for quite a while because they don't know what they don't know. And they can't tell your stuff's set up well until they test it. What they're doing at the beginning is treating you like a second-class citizen, as if you're one of the schmucks that are going to come to the table with nothing, and you are going to be nothing, and so they should treat you like nothing. Eventually, they realize you aren't that if you've done everything I taught you on this channel. And then eventually they're going to give you the good quality traffic because they're going to sub-segment the traffic on each keyword and find the portion of it that converts the best. They're going to give that to their leading guys and they're going to make all the money. And if you're not there, good luck making any money. So at the beginning, you're going to get the shit traffic. If you've not done what I've told you to do on this channel to compete your competition in terms of your ad click-through rates, conversion rates, reviews, you're staying there. And therefore, your stuff's not going to convert and it's going to seem like bot traffic that you're getting from Google when really they just didn't give a shit whether you stayed or went. They really didn't care. In fact, their system's designed to push you out. They're not going to tell you no. They're just going to make it so unprofitable that you don't care to stay. And the people that are doing a good job, they roll out the red freaking carpet for them. So that is something you got to know up front before you automatically assume and everything, all your problems are related to bots. You know, how does Google view you, but how long you've been advertising? The longer you've been advertising with the tracking set up right, they know who and more is your customer. I mean, if you're a kitchen remodeler and you're a luxury provider, there's only a small part of the market who wants that. How good your ads are set up, you have to go through the process, you know, assuming you don't have customer lists to upload, which you would, of course, to show Google who your customer is. You got to go through the process of showing them physically by running your ads, which of the people that are in their system buys versus don't buy. Then they can have your ad show up for the people moving forward that just buy, the 10% of the market that buys your style of what you're offering, if you will. If you're early on, you don't have the conversion rate that the market typically says you should get, but a lot of it's because you never carved out your piece of the market, and that comes from just running the ads with the tracking set up and accumulating data in your account. So keep that in mind as well. Are you in a high CPC niche? Okay. 90% of the high CPC niches nowadays that I come across, 70%, are just about as bad. On those markets, click fraud is an issue. Why? Because it's easy to knock out a competitor clicking their own ads using a software like TrafficBot Pro to click your own ads, fill out a form with fake information, trick your campaigns to optimize for the wrong traffic, and throw your campaigns completely off course, and then you're gone. And they don't have to deal with you anymore. In a market where the cost per click is $50 a click, you may only be able to afford 30 clicks a month. So all you got to do is click your ads like 20 times a month and you're gone because you can't afford, or should I say, it's psychological warfare is really what it is. It's not so much to get rid of you per se, which directly they are, making sure your ad won't show up for the right people anymore because they're going to drain your budget, assuming your budget's limited. But what it's going to do more so is discourage you itself. It's almost like the Vietnamese. What did they do during the Vietnam War? You know, they couldn't beat them head on, but if they put booby traps everywhere, it would discourage the people so they didn't want to go to war with them anymore itself. Your competitors click fraud you, or maybe it's a lead seller in your market who wants to get rid of you so they can sell you leads back to you from Google. They are going to try to discourage you right away, or maybe eventually later on, more so right away, because they know if they can hit you right away, before you know that Google Ads can work, you'll give up way sooner, way easier. So they discourage you right away by making it seem unprofitable, and then you just give up. And now instead of 7 competitors, you got 6 to deal with. And they do that with every new guy coming into the market, and so you're no different than anybody else, and this has been going on for years, literally. Every new guy comes in, gets whacked right away, 90% chance they're not going to stay because they're going to get discouraged right away and they're gone. And you have less competitors overall as a result. Higher CPC markets have this at a higher rate because they are easier to click fraud you, physically speaking, in terms of resources to do it. If you have to, on an e-commerce business where the cost per click's $1, you got to have a lot of clicks to drain your budget. And for that matter, the more clicks that you have, the easier it is for Google to spot click fraud and weed it out as well. Generally speaking, in like e-commerce, click fraud / bots are not really an issue. Markets like home renovation services, B2B services, it's rampant like hell. The higher the CPC market you're in, the more likely it is you have it. Then also, are you in a big money niche? The more money that's at stake, the more likely somebody's going to be willing to click fraud you, one, because the rewards are greater. And secondly, they have more money to throw at the resources required to click fraud you. If you're in a market like pharmaceutical products, sales, that is selling prescription medications, there is so much money in that market available. You literally could make $10 million a year in profit if you were to set your ads up right. Can you do this? No, you can't. Why? Because there's players in that market No matter if you come in and try to take away market share from them on Google search anyway, and they're going to click fraud you in a way that's unstoppable. How do they do this? They actually hire and employ a botnet. So botnet is where you basically hack someone's computer by having spyware that they download, that some software that was free, that thought was free, and it was loaded with spyware, turns that device into a slave device so that they can control that computer from afar. And you've got hackers that do this, and then they'll do this to 30,000 computers. Then they have people that are brokers of the botnet. So the middleman who wants to sell people that want to use this botnet for whatever nefarious purpose, and to provide a connector between the guy who wants to use the botnet and the hacker. So what they'll do then is they will, these click fraud people that are in markets that are like this, they'll hire the botnet to click your ads. And it's so randomized and so sophisticated in terms of, different users and different locations and different browsers and all this. Google themselves can't even figure out how to block it. And good luck trying to block it on your end, because it's going to be so randomized. There's no clues to pick up anymore. And you're just fucked at that point in time. That's just a market you don't get into. Trust me, okay? There's not very many markets like that. But if the bigger the money that's involved, more likely it's going to happen, because it starts to get into like mafia vibes. They're not going to let you cut into their territory on a market where they can make tens of millions of dollars a year like that. Just forget about it. You're better off starting a business in a smaller niche and then starting up more smaller businesses than trying to get into one of these supermarkets like this, because this type of stuff is going on more and more, and there's no way to deal with it when it happens to you. That tells you about bot traffic, what to know about how it happens, if it actually is happening to you or not. So I give you an example about the prescription medication niche, which is one where it happened, and literally I just threw up my hands and said, client, forget about it. You're boned here. There's no way you're going to make money in this market. It is impossible to get rid of the click fraud in this market. They're using botnets. Forget it. Client, by the way, said, I'm going to find a way I'm going to sue the company I know is doing this. They'll subpoena records because they got to be doing it from some devices, and those devices, they probably bought those phones in a Walmart and, burner phones. I said, that's not what's going on here. It's a botnet. These people, anybody can go on and rent a botnet online. This is not hard to do. You just go on some Russian hacker forums, ask around. You can rent them out for a certain amount per day, whatever. Not to say that I've done that, but I just know this is possible. To give you another example, home renovation market. That exact market I was talking about before. Client comes to me. I can't make money, Corey. I look at their ads. Clearly, they're getting hit with click fraud, to the point where 99% of their traffic was bot clicks, okay? So, which is why I say clicks too fast is a great tell to know if this is happening to you or not, because frankly, when you have 99% of your traffic bot clicks, the clicks are coming in fast, which is the reason why I pointed this out as one of the leading indicators to figure out if this is happening to yourself. Well, in that market, once we got rid of that bot traffic and we got real traffic, our ads started to make money. Okay, within 4 months of running the ads and getting rid of that issue, even though they had no results at all before, tried it for several months, got no leads, basically. We started to get leads, and we were starting to make a bare minimum profit after expenses after that 4 months. And that was just all the difference. So if you're in a market, like I said, which has this, and it's coming from click fraud, forget about making money until you fix it. You've got to deal with it head on. We've had situations where we've had people that sell software, running YouTube ads, and I had a client who was running ads for a while, didn't make money, hired me to fix this. I found the placements that people were clicking their ads, got rid of it for a while. Click fraud came back again. Then we had to figure out how else to block these. Then it was going into targeting only certain genres of channels. And then that was the way to make it, to get around, because they have to be able to trigger your ad to click on your video ad. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to drain your budget. What you got to do is target only this now. They think you're gone because they're looking over here. Really, you're here. So it's another, kind of situation of bots that we've had and how we dealt with it, and then got the campaign to be profitable. And then, it's still profitable to this day, having went through that effort. Those are the case studies I wanted to share with you. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. If you want to see another video Click here. It is one of my best ones.